Hey, Breaking Brown family, it's Yvette Carnell coming to you again, as I do every Monday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As usual, take a moment to like this on Facebook, like it on YouTube, share it with your friends, share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter. I noticed that there's a sort of bug going on YouTube when sometimes you try to share it, it gives you the wrong title. Usually gives you the right video. I don't know whether that's a Facebook bug as of yet when you try to share it on Facebook or whether that's a bug with YouTube. I will try to find out. Somebody contacted me about that. But just take a little while to get yourself situated. Just take a little while to give yourselves a moment. I'm going to give everybody a little time to file in here. As always, so go to subscribetobrown.com to subscribe to just a general newsletter. But we have the newsletter up where you can subscribe to that now. You can subscribe to that now. You can subscribe to the newsletter right now if you want to. Just go to breakingbrown.com. And the main page when you hit in before you hit the home page, there's a place for you to subscribe to the newsletter. And again, what the newsletter is every week it's me in your inbox giving you news that I didn't put on Facebook, I didn't put anywhere, but impacts black people and improves the political education that you have. And so that's $2 a month, which is 50 cents per newsletter. And you know, that's not a lot. And so what we also have in terms of what we have coming up for you, we have a forum that we're probably going to put up on breakingbrown.com, and what that forum is going to be, it's going to be a place for us to kind of have these discussions continue on for a while without, you know, getting caught up in YouTube or having, you know, YouTube trolls and everything that kind of comes with that. So all of that stuff is coming up, but the newsletter is here now. That's not coming up. That's here like right now. That's not coming up later. That's here now. So you can go to breakingbrown.com. You can also make a donation to breakingbrown.com. You can also donatebrown.com. You can do however many of those things you want to do to help out the broadcast. But we got a lot to get into there. I'm just going to give a few more people a chance to kind of file in, and you know, get yourself together, do what you got to do, get your popcorn, get your chips or whatever. And let me tell you, if you have the book Outliers, if you have that book by Malcolm Gladwell, go get it, because we're going to use it as a teaching tool today during this conversation. So if you have it, go and get it.
Come now, children, gather around.
Sims Wimbush. Good evening, Sandra. Good evening, Mark. Hey, Don. And, you know, let's just get to it. So those of you who follow me on Facebook who are paying attention know that, or have an idea, or if you don't necessarily follow me on Facebook, just go to a post I had, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and it was a post about Elon Musk of Tesla fame. It was a post about him, and the post was from CNBC, and it had 8 books that taught Elon Musk basically how to be a billionaire. It was very interesting in a lot of ways. But most interesting, the way it was most interesting in terms of my thinking was how Elon Musk and other billionaires and multimillionaires have sort of gotten away with framing the conversation for everybody else, and how they frame the thinking for everybody else. So everybody believes that that's how you get to be a billionaire. You read these kinds of books and you put in that kind of work, and that's how you get to be a billionaire. Except that it's not that simple. Except that that's not the way that it works. And that's very important. This is a very important thing. This is a very important issue. So people say, well, you know, what do you mean? What are you saying about Elon Musk? Well, here's what I'm saying. And I want to say that context, what I'm trying to say is that context matters. And there are a lot of things that are your context in life. Your family. Who is your mother? Who is your father? Who is your grandfather? Who is your grandmother? Who and what kind of situation do they put you in your life? What kind of community are you being raised in your life? Who are the people around you in your life? How much money do these people have? How much expertise do these people have? And how are they able to give that to you? How are they able to pass that down to you in a way that creates opportunities for you in your own life?
You mean you can't just read the magic books?
But what These are magic books like magic beans.
Like it's like Jack and the. So what you're telling me? The camera's on me now. So what you're telling me is that these magic books don't work like Jack and the Beanstalk's magic beans. If
Nope.
But if I can just sell my cow and like take these beans, then I'll be rich,
You know
right?
how I know? You know how I know it don't work like magic beans?
How do you know?
Because you're not rich.
Oh.
Army has read more books than most people I know. His bookshelf is extensive.
I've read a lot of books.
He's not Elon Musk.
I'm not Elon Musk.
Okay? He's very high IQ, very smart guy. You ever read Army, right? Very, very smart. Not Elon Musk.
I've read a lot of books.
And that's what this tells you. What people and you people, I had somebody on my page say something to the extent of, well, Elon Musk, he was homeless at one point and he didn't have a lot. And I don't know what you're talking about, Yvette, because you read books. Yes, but we're not talking about whether or not I read books. We're talking about the correlation between reading and wealth. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the correlation between reading and knowledge, the correlation between reading and money. Okay? Elon Musk did not get rich because he read books. He got rich because of a lot of things. One of those things was, from what I read, and I didn't even know the man was apparently born in South Africa. Do you know what that means? That means that all of the people who were natives in South Africa, the native South Africans, the black people, these people are off the board. Okay, so you don't understand exactly what that means? Well, here's the best way to give you an analogy. Imagine being born in America as an African-American person, but you don't have to compete with white people. Like, all the white people are like slaves. They're peons, and you ain't got to compete with them. That's kind of that's the environment that he came up in. Then he had like an electrical engineer, I think it was a mechanical engineer as a father, a model as a mother. His aunt was like one of the first chiropractors to do something. The best way to get wealthy isn't to read books, is to come from wealth and have people that can put you into those situations. Okay? That's the best way to happen. You look at it.
Are you telling me that I could be a high school dropout, but if I'm white and I come from like wealth,
yeah,
I'll do okay?
You'll do fine.
There's
a greater possibility because you look like rich people. Because there's no way to tell that like you're not a rich person.
Right.
So you look like rich people.
I can get the contract.
You have a shot at it.
Yeah.
You have a shot, and especially depending on where you were born at and what you were born into. Right. That's how context matters. And even when you look at Zuckerberg, there's a very good, I think it's clip number 2. There's a very good story about when you talk about the context in which people grow up in. Zuckerberg, his father gave him a loan. Like, these people are able to, and Elon Musk got a loan too. So you're looking at people, I think Elon Musk's loan was like $20-something thousand, which is like $40,000 to today's term. How many of you have a parent who can give you $40,000? Now, the reason I'm going to dig deep into this is what I realized.
No, that's not, let's be honest.
Yeah, to lose.
It's not just
$40,000 to lose.
To lose.
$40,000 and they'll be like, it's okay. We'll try again next time.
Yes.
Yeah, fail up. Whatever they say. Keep failing. You'll be all right. Whatever they say. But the reason I want to drill down on this, the reason I really want to drill down, because a lot of you have been kind of saying, like, Yvette, you mention this a lot when you talk about stuff, but you never go into it. You always mention how, like, wealth is about context or wealth is about whatever, and you never really drill it down. So I wanted to take this kind of show and drill it down. I never drill it down. That's what you say to me. So I'm going to take this show and I'm going to drill it down and show you what it is and try to bring that, into context. These people were made by capital, but it wasn't just capital. It was something else. You say, well, what was it? It was a lot of things. But first of all, you have to understand, when you look at the context of people's lives, you look at Zuckerberg getting that money. You look at Elon Musk getting that money and being born in South Africa. And these people who are all white being born in America, where descendants of slaves were basically handcuffed during the period where people were making money. When you look at that, one of the other things that you see, if you can look at life in that context, you see that Obama came from white people. That's where he came from. Obama came from white people. He may as well, people say, I'm not saying he's not black, but he may as well be white because he was built on whiteness. His father helped him get into the private school, Punahou. We discussed that before. All of the people who made that next step possible, with the exception of Chicago and Jesse Jackson, these are white people. They got his school. These are white. So when you look at the context, you understand why his context is not our context. But I just want to put it in the frame of how they control what we do And put up, just before we go on, put up clip number 3, which shows how much money. And Zuckerberg had a mom who was a psychiatrist and a dad who's a dentist.
That's 2 doctors.
That's 2 doctors as your parents. You got 2 doctors as parents. You're wealthy. You grew up in a wealthy neighborhood. And so this is your life.
So maybe the people, but Beyonce said that like they could be
the nail Bill Gates in the making?
Yeah.
We are just about to talk about how absurd that line was. How absurd and damaging that line was. And nobody wants to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. It was just the most absurd. Well, you could be the next Bill Gates in the making. Which goes to show she doesn't even understand how Bill Gates got made. Listen, people don't come from individual effort. People don't come from nothing. Anybody who tells you that I came from nothing is usually lying. I want you to show me. If you're a filthy rich now and you're a white person, you were homeless, I want to see the pictures of you eating out of a garbage can. I want to see that picture because I don't believe you. I think most probably you're lying to me and you're lying to everybody else because you have to make up some kind of mythology that surrounds who you are because you have to make up a lie that people can tether themselves to and doesn't make them upset. You can't tell people, you can't just tell people, well, this is what I am. I came from these people and I got a whole bunch of money. I'm a billionaire. People will get upset. You have to tell people I was homeless and I struggled just like you. You have to tie into that struggle or nobody believes you. Or people will get the pitchforks. So these people know what they're doing. They're creating a lie. But the real truth is that these people come from hidden advantage. An extraordinary amount of hidden advantage and opportunity that they never let you know about. Hidden advantage and opportunity. I want you to think about that. And when somebody comes to you and starts saying, I'm a self-made millionaire, go back through their life and find that hidden advantage and opportunity that they're not telling you about. And so if we can break it down in terms of what creates a successful person, if we can break it down what creates a successful person, I would want to break it down like this. We would talk about wealth, timing, luck, and advantage. Let me say that again. Wealth, timing, luck, advantage. Okay? That's how you would break that down. That's how you will break down. And I'm going to do this through the Gladwell book. And if you haven't gotten the book Outliers, you should probably pick it up. It's a good book because it breaks down this Horatio Alger stuff I did for myself. You didn't build that. I built that. People didn't. I had a family. It says at one point that Jeb Bush says he was a self-made man. How do you come from that much money, that much expertise, people in government, people in oil, and still say you're self-made? So part of the problem is that we've gotten to the point where people can just tell us all of these lies and it's okay. So when you look down, let's first of all, there's a man named Bill Joy. And you may not have heard of Bill Joy, but Bill Joy, when you think of like the Sun Microsystem, he's the Edison of the internet. Started writing Unix and all that stuff. That's who Bill Joy is. And so when you think about it, when you hear his parents talk about it, all they say is he was a very inquisitive child. He always wanted to, figure stuff out. That's who he was. But what's left out of the scenario is how Bill Joy was at the University of Michigan freshman year. Now, this is during a time when you talk about programming. This is during a time where programmers are doing this punch thing, this punch code system thing, this punch thing, right? This is what they're doing. They're not programming like people program today. That's what's happening most of the time. It takes all day. It's not exciting. It's an exercise in patience. You have to punch a little thing and take it up and have the operator run it, and it's nothing like that. So he's at the University of Michigan during a time when Michigan gets like a computer which allows which a system which allows like 200 people to program at one time. So he has the opportunity that nobody else has. This dude has the opportunity to be programming all the time, all hours of the night. And it's only one of a few schools that will do that during that time. This is the 1970s or something. There's only a few schools, 1970s, only a few schools that allow that have that kind of capability. So think about the luck. You just happen to go to a school, and there's wealth tied to that too because you're going to a school that your parents are paying for. But you happen to go to a school where they have that available, and they're the only school, they're one of a handful of schools in America, of all the schools, that has that kind of programming computers, right? This is the benefit. You know, there's something else that Gladwell says. He talks about, you know, it takes 10,000 hours to become like perfect or become like a, you know, what you need to be, the top of your game. This is what gave him the ability to have those 10,000 hours. This going to that school gave him that 10,000 hours. Coming from a family that could afford to send him to that school gave him those 10,000 hours. Now, you have to think of the flip side. You have to think of somebody like Freddie Gray, who didn't get those 10,000 hours.
He got some lead poisoning.
He got lead poisoning.
Yes.
And they not only get lead poisoning, then they got to think they take advantage of people with lead poisoning and try to get your check. Like now you have a thing, they try to get your money. Like they say, well, we have a settlement for you and the lead poison has damaged you. We're going to try to get your money. This is what we live through. You have a group of people with all the advantage and a group of people with all the disadvantage. And you want to act like or say to me like, Yvette, the playing field is fair. I don't need government. But let's go on further. I digress.
Actually, there's one slide that I didn't get to about I don't need government, and it's Elon Musk. I didn't put it on. So a lot of people think that Elon Musk is a super capitalist. Super capitalist. And now I'm going to put on this slide, and you can say a few things about this. He's a super capitalist.
He don't need government. He just got a bunch of money, though.
All right. I didn't put up this slide. There you go. Elon Musk growing empires fueled by $4.9 billion in government subsidies. Yvette, do you think you could fund an empire with $4.9 billion?
I think I could do a lot with $4.9 billion.
Could you do
$4.9 billion? But nobody gives us nobody gives us anything.
We went over HBC.
$4.9 billion.
We don't give, we went over the HBCU's budgets last show.
No, we don't get any of that.
No.
We don't get any of that. And now, let me tell you, when we get back to Bill Joy, and we get to Elon Musk, but Bill Joy, there were few places in the world where a 17-year-old had access to a computer where he could program all the time. So of course he's going to become the best in his field, and it was open 24 hours. Now we can go from him. Let's pivot. Stay with me. I'm going somewhere. We can go to Bill Gates. This is what Beyonce's foolishness comes into play. She says, I'm going to be the next something, Bill Gates in the making. You could be the next Bill Gates in the making. And the thing is, it's just ignorant. It's just ignorant. Well, why is it ignorant, Yvette? Bill Gates' father was wealthy in Seattle. Now, Seattle became the hub of like tech in so many ways, but he was wealthy. His mother was a banker. Okay, that's not the end of the story, though. That's not the end of the story. He went to Lakeside Private School, which was an elite private school. Okay? The school started a computer club. Now, mind you, this is a long time ago. He was like 8th grade. The school started a computer club. How many of you had a computer club when you were kids? If you're Bill Gates was born. Let's see, when was Bill Gates born?
I want to say 56.
No, he was born in 1955. So when he's 13, he has a computer club. That's like early 70s or something. Like, can you imagine? Computers that hit my high school to real late. He had this way back when. Okay? And he had, just like Joy had, he had that teletype thing. So he had access to programming at a very early age. Then he had access to companies that allowed him to program at a very early age. What are you talking about, Yvette? Well, in 1971 in college, Bill Joy had access to computer to programming, and he was a freshman in college, University of Michigan. In 1968, Bill Gates had access. In 1968, when we were still fighting to be free. Understand, we were still fighting to be considered human. We were still fighting for the vote. And this little white boy had a computer that he was using to program at an elite high school. Understand, in order to be Bill Gates, you will have to go back in time and be rich and white. That's the only way you could be Bill Gates. Go back in time and be a rich white person. And you have to be in that community that had this programming computers that was state of the art in the early 1970s or late 1968. That's who you would have had to be. Now, how you going to be that today when that window is closed? That's what I say about timing. There's a reason why all of these people are born in and at around the same time. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Well, let me just say this. This is the book. This is the Outliers book. Bill Gates was born in 1955. There's another dude, the third richest man at Microsoft, was born in 1953. You have Steve Ballmer, who was born, he's also a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire, born in 1956.
Let's be honest, Steve Ballmer's greatest gift was being the roommate of Bill Gates.
Roommate?
Like,
what's that? Timing and luck.
Like that's, let's not pretend Steve Ballmer is some genius.
That's timing and luck.
Yes.
Timing and luck. Nothing but timing and luck. Steve Jobs, 1955. Eric Schmidt of Google, 1955. All of these people came of age at the same time, and it's no coincidence. Because they were at the right age at the right time during the Silicon Valley boom. So in order to get that money, you had to be white, at the right place, at the right time, with the right access. That's what it meant to be these people. White, right time, right access, right family to get you where you needed to go. That's what it meant. And how is Beyonce going to be silly enough to say you could be the next Bill Gates in the making? That don't even make no sense. But I digress yet again.
Antonio said, mention that. Can you read it?
What's that? But yeah, I digress over again. You know, the Gates' father was a trademark attorney.
How convenient.
I thought he was a trademark attorney. Now imagine another stroke. Another advantage. These are advantage over advantage after advantage after advantage. The advantages are just piling up. Even Steve Jobs and other computer guys, they understood the ownership, the sort of carnivorous ownership of being an IP attorney, of understanding IP and intellectual property. So let's say you were a black kid and you came up with something, but you didn't know that.
He'd eat you.
He would eat you alive.
And his dad would tell him how to eat you.
To eat you alive and have no fear about it.
Yes.
Y'all tell me that you're being selfish about the immigrants. These people will eat you. Everybody will eat you and is eating you. Okay? But that's who they were. They understood intellectual property and were computer programmers at a time when nobody was doing that. At a time when nobody understood that. Do you understand what kind of advantage that means for them to have that during that time, during that period, and what that meant for their lives, and what that meant for what they could do, and how they could take advantage of other people? And they were already at the top. I mean, come on. You can't. Listen to this.
His dad was a killer.
Was a killer. When you talk about Bill Gates, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about this. So I'm just going to read this. The founder of another computer company had a son at Lakeside, where Bill Gates was also at Lakeside, okay? So they were allowed to test company software. They programmed at a company that went bankrupt called C-Cubed. C-Cubed offices. Did you ever just have somebody at your school when you were young who owned a computer company and said, I want y'all to come here and computer program? Did that ever happen to you in your life? Okay, let's continue. Then Information Sciences Incorporated gave them free computer time in exchange for working on software. Then they recommended them to another company. It's about who you know. And at that time, they recommended them because they had programmed for them, and programmers were hard to come by. Programmers ain't hard to come by no more. There are programmers everywhere, and they come cheap from India with H-1B visas. This was the time of opportunity. This was the time when they were cheap to come by. That's important. So think about that, and think about again. I just used Freddie Gray, and may he rest in peace, or any other person who grew up in the ghetto and all these different places as an example. Think about what these people had, and think about what you don't have. Think about what they had, and I'm not trying to depress you, but this is what they had, and this is what you don't have.
Honestly, I'm going to say something not very nice about Beyonce.
Uh-oh.
Well, I know.
Beehive coming for you.
The beehive's coming for you. I've never heard her actually make a well-formed sentence. Like, I've never heard her speak in a complete paragraph. Maybe I haven't seen.
She don't speak in complete paragraphs now.
Well, I've never heard two sentences strung together. Like, I've never heard her form an argument for something. But I haven't seen a lot of interviews for her. But I don't know if she's illiterate. But I've never heard her speak in a way that's cogent, especially for someone who's probably 40 years old now. Like, she's an adult. But
is she really? Is she really
an adult? I don't know.
Is she really? Because when I see her, she's like channeling stuff that ratchet young people do when they have bats and take bats to cars and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if she ever got to that place. I think she's just channeling like Unleashed aspirationalism that lives in the black community.
That's
and she
fine.
knows that's what we want to hear. Like, people in the black community right now are just telling us what we want to hear, and it's unhealthy. And it's not true. And so part of what I want to do is just reveal that untruth of it, how they're just kind of leading you on. I mean, when you look, and people always think like, well, yeah, we didn't have the opportunity back then, but I can build something now. As if white people don't make a habit out of just wrecking your stuff. Like, white people don't just let you build something and leave you alone. When I say white people, if you watch the white people, I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about white people in the march of capitalism, everything that happened, the people who put us in slaves, the people who used us to make billions of dollars and make you okay. They don't just leave you alone when you're trying to build something. Like, I can just still go build something. No, they do like the dudes, like Bill Gates' father was an IP attorney. They take your stuff and be like, you didn't protect it good enough. Then this is how it works. And it's over. When people talk about Black Wall Street, I say, what happened to Black Wall Street? Because white people wreck stuff. They're not going to just let you build something and leave you alone. Don't nobody just let you build nothing and leave you alone and just be like, well, we're just going to let you build up and be a competition? I think not. I will wreck your stuff. I will take everything you own and leave you homeless and not feel nothing about it. So think about that. When you read studies about it takes 228 years for a black person to catch a white family in wealth, think about the fact that white family ain't only not standing still, but it's trying to take what you got anyway. And it don't care if you only got crumbs. They want those crumbs. They want to eat everything. Eat everything. Eat everything you got. We don't care. We're going to eat everything. And the thing is, when you think about, just stay with me a minute. When you think about these people and what they say and the kind of stuff they say, about how they got successful and it was just hard work and all that stuff, it's so insidious because the only thing they're doing is lying to us. So the only thing they're doing is just kind of lying to us so we'll believe in them. But there's another, and let me just say this and I'm gonna move on to the next point. But during the Gilded Age, everybody knew who the rich people were. Like, when there are kings and queens and kingdoms and all that stuff, you already know who all the rich people are, and you know you're not going to be them. And nobody lies to you and says you can be that one day. It's just like, these people over, you're a serf, and these people over here are royalty, and get somewhere and sit down and know your place. But, like, it makes us crazy in America because everybody's lying to us. But they got to lie to us because if they didn't, we'd get the pitchforks. And that's what makes it so damaging. And you can look at the richest people. Like, look at that list of the richest. When you look at the richest people, a disproportionate number of them, and this is also in outliers, but a disproportionate number of them come from America. And you ask yourself,
well, they're all born the same time.
Why do all these rich people come from America? They were all born the same time. How curious is that? That is so just, they came really during this 10-year span. That's just so strange. Well, not really. If you understand what's going on during that span, you have Wall Street, okay? During that span, you have the rise of Wall Street, you have a boom in railroads, and you have no rules. You get just a period where you ain't really got rules. People just walking around snatching stuff. Yeah. Carnegie, Rockefeller, snatching stuff. Read some of what's her name? Not Ivy Wells, Tarball. She was a journalist way back in the day, and she used to talk about how they just walk around and be snatching stuff and just do what they want to do. And slavery, as far as I'm concerned, didn't end until the 1940s because they had slavery by another name. So it didn't end till late. So what you even had then, you had people, you had free labor, some people who were money who could take advantage of it during that period for only a limited amount of time. Now, if you were born before or after that period, you were just kind of screwed. Because even if you were white, because you had kind of missed the timing. So you couldn't do what Carnegie did. You couldn't do what Rockefeller did. You couldn't do it then. And all of that money is still in the system. Just like all of that poverty is still in the system. And we own all the poverty and they own all the money. But instead of telling you that, they tell you, well, my father worked hard. He talked up there. No, you didn't. No, your father, your great-great-grandpappy didn't work hard. He had a slave who worked very, very hard and died doing what he did. I mean, read about slavery. When you there's the YouTube, it's on YouTube, Slavery by Another Name. Just look at it and look at how people died, digging these mines and doing all this kind of stuff. Just look at it. That money has been in random white people's stock portfolios and pensions for a long time, and they've benefited, and we haven't. We have the poverty from that age. And they have the money. And people say, well, why can't I do it now? Like, why can't I do it now? I already told they're going to snatch it. But the second thing about it is America's in decline. That came during a time where there was a huge boom. There was a huge boom. Like America was growing. And then after America was growing, we had wars and all this kind of stuff that made it okay. You know, that people were making money. America was growing. America's now in decline. Globalism fixed all of that. So that's what you have, a country in decline. You're not going to be him right now. And you need to understand that. And we'll get to, before you say, I'm so depressed. Oh my God, Yvette made me depressed again. We'll get to a solution that I think will help. But we're not there yet. Okay? Let's see. You know, not only when you were born, it's like I said, it's free and cheap labor. And that's something we need to understand. Let me just say something. That moment is over for a lot of people. That moment isn't just over for them. Like, there are moments that open and close. We think of everything as flat. That's what black people do. We think of everything as flat. Everything is flat, and the opportunity exists to do whatever you want to do. No, opportunity opens and closes for everybody. Open, close, like affirmative action. Open, close for everybody. And I want you to think about something. Even in terms of hip-hop, there is a reason why the moguls in hip-hop were born around the same time.
Yeah.
There is a reason for that. Let's look at Jay-Z. Okay? I want you to look at when he was born. I'm going to show you when all of these guys were born. I'm going to show you when Puff Daddy was born. All these guys are like right around 47. Do you think it's ironic that we haven't created any more rap moguls that are like 32, 34, 25? Like, do you think? People were chose during a certain period for a certain reason. White capital chose them during a certain period for a certain reason. That was the height of rap. They were making money for rap. These people had an opportunity to snatch a little bit of money out of that. Fine. But they were chose during a period by white. And understand that they were chose. These are not self-made men. Puff Daddy goes around talking about, let's go. No, let's get it and all this stuff. No, you were not self-made. You were chosen. You were chosen by white capital, and white capital is done with allowing you to make yourself into some kind of mogul. They don't need to do that. They know they can pay you a little or nothing, and it'll be all right. All of these people, born around the same time, chose around the same time, and we ain't seen no more of them yet. Since. We ain't seen, they're all like 48, 50.
Kanye thought he would be one of them, but I think he's got his feelings hurt.
He was really, Kanye West was at the end of a closing door.
He was at the end of a closing door.
He was at the end of a closing door, and he don't even have nothing like that. He's not a mogul in the same way that Diddy was on everybody's everything.
He might be broken 15 years.
Broken 50? He broke now. He says he's in debt, and then he came back and tried to walk it back. Like, I don't know what I was talking about. After Kim Kardashian and everybody was like, you can't be going around telling people you broke. That don't look good. That's not a good look for you to be going around saying you broke. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe I ain't broke. I don't. Maybe I ain't. Maybe I is. Maybe I ain't. I don't know. And then next thing you find out what happens. The man ends up in an asylum. I mean, not an asylum.
It's crazy making.
I mean, like in a mental health hospital for a little while, because
it's confusing,
that's the kind of stuff.
Yvette.
But it's the kind of stuff that makes you crazy, though. That's the kind of stuff that makes you have a mental break. You see all these people around you, all this white money around you, and these people won't let you access it. You sell a bunch of these shoes for Adidas, for then it was like he was with Nike or something, and they still like, no, we don't pay you no royalties. What's wrong with you? You better go somewhere and sit down. What you talking about? Why don't you just take the money like the rest of the rappers do? Sell the hell out of it and just take the money and go away. What you talking about? Like, pay me, dude? What you mean? Ain't nobody gonna pay you, black. Ain't nobody gonna pay you for this. And he's like, I see all this and I see all this potential I have, and they won't let me in. Like, that's enough. But if you don't understand how the game is set up and how the board is like just set up against you, you will go crazy. You will go crazy. Even with Oprah, people think about Oprah and say, oh, well, what about Oprah, Yvette? Oprah's self-made. And on what planet is Oprah self-made? On what planet? Oprah came of age during the time where the FCC was putting pressure on news stations and radio stations to hire more women and hire more black people. And Oprah was a black woman, and she got chose. Getting chose ain't being self-made. Getting chose ain't coming from a wealthy family. She got chose. And that era is over. Do you ever wonder why we ain't got but one Oprah? We got a whole lot of talented people who can talk. Talking is something we do very well. Hell, I do it okay. You ever wonder why we ain't got more Oprahs?
How much money does Wendy Williams have?
Lord, I
What's
don't
her
know.
deal?
I don't think she got it like
Does she have real money, or does she have like a little bit of money?
I doubt it. How many black people have real money?
I don't know.
I don't think so. And this is what I want to say before I get to the other part. What I really want to say is, we are at an era where there is no more. This is what income inequality means. Income inequality means no more wealth sharing. That whole wealth sharing stuff is over. I think Antonio Moore said in the video, he was like, these people are kind of eating your dreams. You think of it like Bill Gates is over here with billions and Warren Buffett is over here with billions. And like, I'm over here and I can still be them. No, they got a lot of dreams. Like, they collected a bunch of dreams and they collected your dream too. And they ate your dream. And so now you negative dreams. And your kids don't have dreams because they ate all the dreams. Ain't enough dreams. You just don't have dreams. A person don't have $1 billion and you got dreams because you don't get $1 billion without stealing. You stole. Whether it's intellectual property, whether it's wage suppression, you stole. You are a thief.
And they had people teaching them. This is why it's important that Bill Gates' father was an IP attorney who like practiced carnivorous ownership. They had people teaching Bill Gates how to eat everyone around.
How to eat dreams.
Who is teaching you how to eat dreams?
Who is teaching you how to eat dreams? When I tell you that you got to be selfish in terms of immigrants, you get mad. So you couldn't even eat dreams if you had the opportunity. You can't eat dreams. If you're going to say, well, we got to watch out for everybody. No. People who eat dreams don't say that. They say squash them. Squash them. I don't even care. What you mean? Well, they ain't going to have no food. Okay, and? What you telling me for? Don't bring that to me. I'll fire you for telling me they ain't got nothing to eat. Don't bring that to me.
So
that's what happens.
So that's why so people say we're a little bit hard with our politics. We want a black politics with teeth. We're trying to teach you, let's be honest, we're trying to teach you how to do a black politics that works. And that means it's going to be hard. It's going to be different. It's going to be different.
Before you get to that, Arvin, we're trying to teach you that black politics is necessary.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think black politics is necessary. It's the most necessary thing in your life. Do you understand that we need more and we're giving less? Honestly, with kids that come from slaves, what you really need is like, we should have a classroom that only have like 8 people.
Yes.
Because that's what we need. We should have a classroom that better than the affluent kids have, because that's based on our need. That's based on what we come from.
Today,
and we get less. And we get told to be okay with it. Not only do we get told to be okay with it, black people tell us to be okay with it. Black thought leaders tell us, well, we can make something out of nothing. You can't do it. If we could have done it, we tried hard. Listen, black people have tried hard since we've been here. If you could make something out of nothing, we would have. What we did was the best we could do. And that's what we still doing.
Now
they tell us to be happy with charity.
Yeah,
that's the killer.
Societies, if you don't remember anything else I say, societies are not structured with charity. What charity means is that you let these billionaires
it's
tell
a tremendously
you
exciting time
what you should get. That is serfdom.
And, the time here
that
in
is
America
some royalty stuff where you are oligarchy, where you are led by
the
billionaires, because the billionaires are the only ones who can really give charity like that, and some few millionaires. So what that means is you let billionaires and millionaires structure your life.
That climate change
Why in the world would anybody do that? Do you think they want what's best for you? Do you think they want to pay you? I think still, people talk about how brilliant Steve Jobs is. Yeah, he was a very brilliant guy, but guess what? He also was in cahoots with Google to suppress your wages.
Hundreds of thousands of jobs.
He was in cahoots. There were emails found between them. They got fined and everything by suppressing the wages of engineers and people who work for them. That's a big deal. Do you not understand? That's a big deal. That is a huge deal.
I think what's exciting today, when I started off in business 50 years ago,
you have to start thinking and understanding right now is a cumulative advantage.
There was a
accumulation of advantage over time. They get advantage after advantage after advantage after advantage, and that advantage adds up. And that advantage spans
run by governments, British Gas,
decades and
British Steel,
centuries.
British Coal, British Airways.
That's a huge advantage that they have that keeps piling up over time. And these advantages are oftentimes hidden, so you don't know. There's no way to know. If the advantage is hidden, there's no way to know that this is the advantage. So you have to look for those advantages, and you can't let yourself keep being lied to. This is kind of what I think Gladwell calls the machinery of achievement. And the reason we don't make demands of government is because we don't think we need to. We think we be all right. What's the problem? And I think what we need to understand as I come to a close in terms of this segment is I think what we need to understand is that these people are our class enemies. And it's not our class enemies because they just have more money, but because they have stolen dreams. They have stolen dreams.
I had the Branson clip playing above you apparently by mistake.
That was Ironman's fault. People said it was a crosstalk. Ironman, we gonna have to. That's the second time you done had a video play at the same time I'm talking.
Well, yeah.
Y'all sent Ironman hate mail.
you people get fickle.
You can't have nobody playing at the same time. Oh.
We never actually got to the Branson video.
We're gonna get to the Branson video. I was headed in that direction. There's a method to my madness, people. What I wanna when I was coming to the Branson clip to talk about how we're class enemies, and I want to play the Branson clip now. I mean, if you can't just kind of make it, you don't have to put it above me. Just kind of make it full screen because I want people to kind of hear what. Just really, I want you to really listen to what he's saying. And then I think you'll be able to understand why I feel that we're class enemies and what that means.
And now there are tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, if not hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, and each of those entrepreneurs are making a positive difference to other people's lives in different sectors. So it's a tremendously exciting time for people to be alive, and at a time here in America where people are worried about the government that's going to govern them. I think fortunately entrepreneurs can do a lot of the compensating work. I mean, if the government decide that climate change doesn't exist, which is extremely bizarre if that was really the case, then we as entrepreneurs just got to get in there and fill the gap and create hundreds of thousands of jobs and make sure that we do get to a carbon neutral world by 2050. So I think when government is lacking, then entrepreneurs need to step into the breach. I think what's exciting today when I
all right, we're back.
Everybody, when you listen to that, I know that everybody thinks that, well, that sounds good. Well, he's saying that, the stuff that's wrong, he's in favor of, he believes that climate change is real, and he's saying that, he's saying that businesses have a lot to do, and businesses, I think that sounds nice. No, actually what he's saying is that businesses should take the place of government. And at a time where you need government, and I need government, this is not what you want. And the second part is,
businesses have been good to black people, though.
Yeah, well, all that discriminatory hiring and all that stuff. I mean, when you think about what, and let me just say this, businesses cost money. Like, you think businesses can fill the gap. Businesses aren't going to fill any kind of gap for free. And they already have a record of discriminating against us as African Americans. What do you think will happen if the government just kind of has a reduced role? What do you think happens if the government has a reduced role and we don't have a bigger role? I mean, it doesn't have a bigger role and it has a reduced role, and there's nobody to say, like, you can't do that. You can't discriminate against black people. You can't just fire them because they're black. What do you think happens to us? Like, I'm just curious because I don't understand how this makes you, how you think this is okay. This is not okay. He wants to replace government with business. That's what he's saying. And you think he's so nice and he's such a genius, isn't he? So, it sounds so wonderful. So what's the problem? There are a lot of problems in that. We need government. Nothing is as big as government that can come down and dictate to people, no, you can't do this to black people. We saw what happened when we were left alone without government. The government abandoned us. And the Ku Klux Klan came in and stole our stuff, set our houses on fire, burned crosses in our yard because the government was like, not our problem. That's what happens when you don't have a government that works.
Well, it was business leaders who allowed the Little Rock 9 to get in, right? Like, it was business leaders who were who were escorting Ruby Bridges.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was business leaders.
Was it?
I don't think so.
I think it was government.
I think so, yeah.
I think it was government. I think government did that. I think government brought us in. I think government did that.
It doesn't mean it's going to do, like, let's be clear, because people say government never did anything to black people. Doesn't mean it's, like, we can push government
not
in a way
panacea.
Right. We can push government in a way that we can't push business.
Yep. It's not a panacea. We need to push government to do more. We need to push government to do more, not less. Not less. And I'm going to offer you at the end of this show, I'm going to offer you one 10-second solution. Because I said I was going to offer solutions from, try to offer more solutions. So at the end of this show, I'm going to offer you, another solution. Just it's going to only take 10 seconds, but wait around for that. It's only not going to take long. But I just want to point out one thing that I just found kind of funny. That, Branson, the guy who was saying, well, business can take over, basically saying that business can do what government can't do. He is the same guy who Obama was hanging out with and skiing with and everything. Obama never wanted, listen, this is what Obama always wanted to be. He always wanted to be in the company of billionaires and multimillionaires. He never wanted to be with us. We were the mat that he walked over and stepped on to get to where he wanted to be. And I think part of the lesson here is that we got to stop being the mat. Now, I want to take a quick break because we're getting ready to go to the phones. Share this video. If you like what you hear, share it. Hit the like button if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, tweet it if that's what you're into. Go to subscribe to Brown to subscribe. You go to breakingbrown.com. Now, breakingbrown.com is a very different thing. Breakingbrown.com, you go to the homepage. There's a way you can subscribe to a newsletter I'm doing that will start this Sunday where I bring the news that you might have missed that impacts black life, because this show is about political education. It's $2 a month. 50 cents. That's 50 cents per newsletter.
What kind of things will you be talking about?
We'll be talking about wealth income equality. We'll be talking about incidents that we need to watch out for in terms of, stuff that politicians are doing. We will have data. We will be including some data from previous shows in another segment at the bottom so that you have that as well. So we'll be doing that. And soon we want to have a forum on breakingbrown.com to put up to where we can have an open discussion about a whole lot of stuff.
I think the intern already started putting something up.
Yeah, he put it up at breakingbrown.com. So you can see we're starting to do that. You can go there and check it out. But we're building. That's what we do. We're building. So we're trying to build so we can at least have a political education. Everybody keeps telling me like, well, Yvette, I don't understand, because the thing is, I don't understand why you just can't give us a solution to fix everything. That's like telling me to fix racism. I can't fix racism. I don't have a solution for fixing racism, especially when it doesn't involve government.
Yes.
How am I supposed to give you a solution that doesn't involve government to fix racism when government was responsible for so much of this? How can I give you a solution for that? There's no solution that doesn't involve government. Government did this. Give me a solution that doesn't involve government.
So whatever the solution's going to be, it's going to involve a black politics.
Yes. And the thing is,
it's going to involve a black politics.
Exactly, Ari. And the thing is, here's the thing. It's almost like you're on the battlefield, right? And let's say it's not a battlefield like old school, not with regular guns. It's a high-tech battlefield, like some sci-fi stuff. And you can't see your opponents and even fight back or anything because, like, they have these illusions. So you think they're soldiers over there, but it's a hologram. So you don't know. And, like, they have something over here, and you think there are resources being flown in for you over here. But that's a hologram, too, and you don't know. What I'm trying to do is reveal to you the holograms. Nothing we do is going to work until you realize that half this stuff on this battlefield is fake. You're going to run in and you're going to charge at something that's fake, and then you're going to get shot. Because the opponent put it there and they know it's fake. So what I'm telling you is that we got to clear the field of all these smoke and mirrors, and then we can kind of begin to understand where we are and where we need to go. So what I'm telling you is that we got to clear the field. So I think that's what we have to do. I think that's what has to happen. And so I think are you ready to go to the phone?
Yeah, we can go to the phone. Okay,
let's go to the phones. I don't want to talk too long. I want to give everybody a chance to have their say. And I know I'm not getting all the calls in, so I'm trying to make up for that tonight.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, hi, Yvette. I'm a big fan of your show.
Thank you.
I listen to it all the time. Yes, I'm calling out of Washington, D.C. I want to know, do you think Black America trying to get government to act in our interest, to get things specifically for Black Americans, descendants of slaves in North America, do you think that Black Americans or African Americans, do you think we should, in our attempt to get redress from the government, do you think we should change our name? Because when we call ourselves African American or Black American, oftentimes we get lumped in with other black immigrant groups who don't have the same lineage, struggle, or interest as our group. And what do you think of that? Do you think that's irrelevant, or?
No, I think it's actually very relevant. I said before. I think I said on my Facebook. But I think African Americans who have descended from slaves should call ourselves descendants of slaves. Like, we should be called DOS. Like, our designation shouldn't be African American. Our designation shouldn't be black. We should be DOS. And DOS people should get special privilege in terms of hiring, in terms of everything that happens in this country, in terms of minority set-asides, affirmative action, descendants of slaves. And I think I've gone so far on this show as to say we should have different ID cards. Like, I want my ID card to be pink, and across the front I want to say descendant of slave. Yeah, my driver's license, it should be pink, and it should say descendant of slave across the top. Like, I want to just drop it down. Well, descendants of slaves get first priority in hiring here, so you see drop down a pink card. You dang Skippy, I did.
So you don't want anybody to confuse you for Kofi?
No.
Or Kwame?
Nope.
Right.
Kwesi?
Thank you, caller. I appreciate that.
But
Go ahead.
Wait. But you. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
I'm here.
You know that a lot of black Americans politically, we're very altruistic and we don't believe in reciprocity, things being mutually beneficial. And so, like, when you say like we should describe ourselves as descendants of slaves and separate ourselves, some of our people say, oh well, what about other black groups? What about Latinos? And oh, that's divisive and that's mean. Like, how do we get out of that mental mind state that we've been in for such a long time?
I think the first thing to understand is that we're already divided. When the Supreme Court was hearing that case on affirmative action, I saw Al Sharpton, I saw Jesse Jackson, I saw a whole lot of black people out there. What I did see was a whole lot of white women and a whole lot of Latinos. When it comes time to do stuff for African American, talk about reparations, I don't see a whole lot of people who are not African American who are out there protesting on behalf of this or demanding this. We're already divided. Other groups are already out for themselves. And so I think once we just got to keep showing people that, like, listen, that doesn't mean we can't have allies, but if you're my ally, you got to do what's right for me. You got to do what's right for me. You can't just have me come up and show up and do what's right for you. And if you're a good ally, you got to stop using my story. Don't keep using the story of African Americans. It don't work that way. We can have a real coalition once we figure out our particular claim. And we can't have a coalition of politics if we can't make our particular claim. And we can't have other people dilute our claim. You can't come here and be just like, I'm just like you. You have to be able to understand, no, you're not. And you have to take a back seat. And people don't want to hear that. When you have people say take a back seat, people get offended. No, that's right. Our people built this country with their own free labor. You just got here, Paco. And I'm not trying to be offensive, but you just got here. You don't have the same claim that I have. And so we have to be willing to be hostile. We have to be willing to be mean. I don't care whether it's Latinos or white women. We have to be willing to say, listen, I just don't go along with you because you say this is what's right to do. That's not how any of this works.
But we can also, once we figure out our particular claim, we could actually negotiate and say, look, you guys need to come out. And honestly, you guys need to come out first for us, and then we could talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to figure out who we are and our particular claim. Then we can actually negotiate our position.
Exactly.
And that's a black politics.
That's the black politics that works. This stuff ain't working. Everybody climbing up on our backs.
Oh, on YouTube, Yvette, YouTube, there's some guy who keeps saying all this racial stuff about black people and ranting and raving. I don't know how you.
Okay, we'll see.
How you banned him, but
we'll see. We'll see if Army can get the troll. Thank you.
All right. Love the show, though. Keep up the good work.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, bye.
All right. Keep it moving?
Yes.
Anonymous.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, I think you're right on point. I was thinking about the different colored ID card the other day because I received something in the mail that was a means testing, and whenever I get mail from the government, my heart always beats a little fast, kind of the way black people's heart beats fast when they see a siren behind them.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid it's going to say something about me not being able to get what I need. And I'm thinking, it's ridiculous for me as a black person living the life that I've lived, and my mother and father and grandparents and all of that, having lived what they lived, to have to worry about getting help that I need. And I was thinking just then, I need a card. I need that pink card to say descendant of slave. Now, don't bother me anymore about whether or not I qualify. So I totally hear you on that. Now, what I would like to do is follow up. I called once before, and I wanted to follow up on a question that I asked. And I remember when I asked the question, I used the word confusion, and which was quickly followed in the comment section, and I think also in some of the commentary that some of the callers were making and that you and Irene were making about Neely Fuller. The confusion is lethal, and not understanding how the global system of white supremacy, which I actually call anti-blackness now. I think anti-blackness drives white supremacy and not the other way around. But I want to follow up on that, because here's what I'm getting. What I'm getting is that people who look like black people, phenotypically, in the United States, are treated the way that we're treated because we are the descendants of slaves, and all of that, that entails.
Okay.
And so then I asked the question. So then I asked the question. Well, if that's true, how do you explain this terrible plight that besieges all of the people who have that phenotype all over the globe? And the answer I got was colonialism, which is another version of racism. In other words, racism looks one way in this part of the world, and it looks another way in other parts of the world. But then your response was, well, hey, that's hypothetical. I mean, I can't tell you what situation black people in this part of the world called the United States would be in if it had not been for slavery, because slavery happened and it's hypothetical. And I am positing to you that it is not hypothetical, because if you wanted to see how black people would be treated, if you hold that there is a global system, that thing exists, that there's a global system of white supremacy and or anti-blackness. Now, if you hold that that's true, then you look at a black phenotype, a group of people, and if you want to know what would happen, whether or not them not being slaves would put them in a good position, you just go to another place of the world where they were never enslaved. And I think we can do that throughout history. So I guess what I'm trying to adjust to is a question, and that is, where in the history of white people specifically, but non-black people generally, has there been any indication that if we make a request that they stop smashing our heads with their heels, whether or not you call that making a request to the government or not, that they have done it? And if you come to the conclusion that they haven't done it, what makes you think they will do it in the future? And if you come to the conclusion that they're not going to do it in the future, what do you suggest we do about that?
Where's a place that they didn't bust our heads where they were in charge?
Well, they've always been in charge. So, like, well, look, we did get affirmative action. There was Reconstruction. The problem is we let up. We let up because we didn't have our black politics right.
Well, the thing about it is, here's the thing. Like, if you look at Haiti, they had a whole different situation. They had the French come in and do all sorts of things, and they had the French come in and they had the worst form of a lot of stuff. They had babies cut out of women in Haiti. All kind of awful stuff happened. But they also had like this mulatto black ruling class that got certain benefits. So it was very different than what happened here in America. Nobody's asking that you request that white people do anything. I don't think people who were rioting were making a request. During the 60s, I don't think Martin Luther King, when he was marching and when he died and got shot in the face, I don't think he was making a request. I think he was dying for a cause. And I think you have to be there. I think you have to be willing to die for that. I think you have to be. I mean, you look at South Africa and what they were doing in terms of how violent that got. I'm not saying get violent. What I'm saying is that, like, people make this into a passive thing. And what I'm telling you is that you don't have any alternative. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to be? What country are you going to go to?
I am suggesting that there is an alternative, but it's one that it's one that people don't want to hear. And I think that there's some people who are familiar with my point of view on this.
Let's hear it.
What's the solution we don't want to hear?
At this point, I don't think that black people at this point are in a position to demand anything. I don't think we've ever demanded anything because ultimately everything comes down to force. And if we look back at history, that's just the reason we're in the situation that we're in is because they've always come down with a heavy hand of force. When it comes down to it, their force is much greater than ours. Their technology is much greater than ours. So in the meantime, you can kind of make knives. You can kind of make ass. I do. I don't call anybody a coon. I don't call anybody Uncle Tom's because how you coexist under this very wretched system is up to you as long as you don't try to hurt me. So we do that in the meantime. But if we're looking for a permanent solution, the only permanent solution is that we have to get technologically capable. Now, that does not have to mean that it's got to be Star Wars level, George Lucas level. We've got to show everybody how smart we are and build up all these think tanks and power plants that they can then just bomb. No, we're going to have to be extremely innovative. We're going to have to do things on a small scale. We're going to have to if you look on the internet, you can see where people have used like resources, very small resources that are almost trash to build amazing technology. That kind of
guerrilla warfare
that we've used in every other form of life to make gourmet food out of thrown out food, to be able to make wonderful music out of because we don't have instruments. We're going to have to do that in technology, and we're going to have to do that in the form of defense technology, and we're going to have to do it in a way that does not toot our horns and try to make ourselves look proud, make us feel smart. Because unless our technology can match theirs in terms of defending ourselves, nothing that we do in politics, in economics, sex, nothing will stand. That is my point of view. That actually didn't end on a question, but I just, we can keep making these requests from them. Neely Fuller says that. He says, ask for what is needed, accept what is granted, compare what you asked for with what was granted, and compensate for the difference. I'm suggesting how we compensate for the difference, and I thank you for taking my call.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, but thank you for the call. I see. Here's my problem. I just don't see. Like in the first part of her call, she said they're technologically advanced, and then she said we have to become technologically advanced.
But subtle, like guerrilla warfare type.
No, with 13%. No, like okay, if you were, she didn't say guerrilla warfare though. She said she said compensate for the difference.
But on the slow,
I don't think she meant like kill people. I don't think she meant like that's because that's what guerrilla warfare is.
She said defense, and she said
listen. If you let me tell you something,
yeah.
if you're prepared to do guerrilla warfare, and I'm just gonna say you just might as well say I'm prepared to die, and that's not if that's your thing, it's not my thing. But if that's your thing, if that's your position, that's your position. I want you to know it's not my position. But here's the thing. I want people to understand one thing. We are living in an environment where we have a surveillance state, unlike anything the world has ever seen. You're going to have to train some pigeons to go from point A to point B because the government has access to all your phone calls, all your text messages, all your emails, everything. And if you think I'm making it up, go look at Frontline, the documentary about surveillance. I'm telling you, you're going to have to work out a whole nother system to communicate. And communicate is the first part. So I don't see how this works. If somebody else wants to tell me how it works and provide me with some specifics of what y'all talking about, I'm fine.
Send an email. What did they send?
Send an email or call in. I have no problem listening to you. And I'm not berating anybody. I'm just saying I don't understand how it works.
All right, let's keep it moving. Okay.
Hello?
Yes. Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yvette?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? Every time I watch your show, that happens, and I go, well, that's some stupid shit baby said. Hello? And then it just happened to me. Okay.
You're in the club.
I'm good. Shut up. Don't say yes again. Look, I'm going to turn it down.
Thank you.
I like her. I like this caller. Find out her name.
Don't nobody tell us their name.
It's real.
You're gonna have to turn off your computer.
Turn off your computer.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Now, no, don't say anything.
Okay.
I'm not hip to electronic shit. Do I look at the TV?
No, don't.
Turn
Just
off
talk
the
to your phone.
computer.
Turn off the
And then
computer.
I'll listen to you on the phone.
Yes, turn down your computer. Turn it down or turn it off and just listen to me.
Turn down your computer. Turn off your computer. This is a good tutorial for everyone watching at
turned
home.
it down.
Thank
Good.
you. Good. Now let's
Because
talk.
I have my TV. My TV is on a surround sound system.
Turn it down.
Turn it off.
I
Mute.
always get in trouble with the subwoofers.
Mute your TV.
Listen, I'm Miss Thomas in Oregon.
Okay.
I live in the most racist state there
Yes.
could be in the United States.
Yes, that's true.
They're really good. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, keep talking. I'm not saying anything. I'm just listening to you.
I'm trying to hear you.
I'm just listening to you. I'm not saying anything.
I can't hear you. I can hear myself talking to you, but
Good.
You're talking.
gonna
Just talk.
wait.
Just talk. No, talk.
Talk.
yeah,
Talk.
I can see you responding on the TV, but I can't hear any. I can't hear anything through the phone. So anyway, I'm from Oregon. I am a 64-year-old woman that's from a slave family. I'm from Alabama. The name is Woodyard.
Okay.
And the family and the name is prominent. People down there know us. There's a history. And so I'm one of them high yellow paper bag testing generation child with the Mardi Gras and stuff. My family, the Woodyards are dark, but I'm the high yellow that comes out from the rape of the women and the birthing and
You know something about that,
breeding
right?
us and stuff.
You know something about that, right?
And the master having his way with the women.
Uh-huh.
So I'm one of those. Not mulatto, but mulatto is there in us. My family never played the game. We got killed or punished or something.
Okay.
Okay? So anyway, I've been watching you, and I like what you're doing. And I think there is no one answer, but I think you're getting there with trying to wake up some minds and get people to respond, and then just reacting on just one level. There's a multiple levels. We didn't get here from simplicity. We got here from complicated and chaos. And my understanding that there are some ways we can we can deal with it, we can conquer it, and not be a part of it. But people aren't going back enough. They're not going far back enough. They're not looking at their family. They're not looking at the signals that mama gave you, daddy gave you, brother gave you. They're forgetting.
Yeah.
You're trying to wake them up and get them to understand and remember. But you can't get them to remember if they're being, you said something to that young girl about surveillance and stuff like that. Yeah, things like that. That level of control.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate your call, caller. Thank you. She can't hear me anyway. I have something with the phone. I don't know. Is it what?
No, I can't. But thank you,
She
Eric.
just said.
That was next level stuff right there.
You can't hear me. No, I can't. But I think she's right. Like they didn't let black people own property in Oregon until 1926. I mean, so in terms of Oregon being racist, people don't normally think of it that way, right? All of the land was bought. They killed the Indians. So people don't think of Oregon as West.
Well, they figured out the black people problem in a different way, right? They didn't want to have slavery, but they didn't want black people either. So just don't let them buy.
We don't want slavery, but we don't want y'all black people. We don't want none of that. We don't want none of that. None of that.
We don't want slavery, but we don't want black people. So, you can't buy property.
But I think that's a lot of reasons people don't like this show. Looking back at slavery makes black people sad. and listen to the statistics make black people sad. Well, you ain't a kid. You don't just get to like you gotta stop internalizing it. Like you don't need to carry it around. Like I'm just telling you to understand what you're working with. Nobody telling you to be around, walking around all day sad or because no, that's not how you're supposed to live your life. As far as I know, you only got one. You don't just walk around sad. It's my fault you walking around sad.
But what
Make yourself
happens?
a sandwich.
What happens when you actually ignore your history? Ignore the fact that we came from slaves and Jim Crow, and we don't have as much money as like the people with our same education. What happens when you ignore that?
You just get poorer. Or what happened when you attribute the wrong reasons for it? It's like I ain't been working hard enough.
Right, you just get sad and depressed.
You just dig a hole.
Yeah.
Now that's when you need to be sad. You might as well climb in that thing.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
Yeah. So, like, what about the people who say, "No, we didn't come from slaves"? Yvette, you're high yellow, but you're a queen.
What's wrong with them people that keep saying that like all black people in this country were here? What's those people names? Y'all stop doing that. That's disrespectful to slaves. Like we were here first. No, stop that. So the middle passage never happened. Y'all need to shut that down. These people are popping up like whack-a-mole everywhere I go, just like we that was never slaves and stuff. Like I can't deal with y'all that don't. So the middle passage was never a thing. And even if there were some black people here, what difference does that make? It's just another way to make yourself feel good. And then leave it up to y'all, we won't ever get anything. Like, like people say, well, reparations never gonna happen. I'm sure when they were hanging black people from trees, I'm sure when a black person was being hung from a tree, no black people ever walked up to them and be like, we're gonna have to vote one day. People never think it's gonna happen. Stop talking about what you think. This life is bigger than your lifetime. If climate change don't kill us, anything is possible.
Yes.
So I don't know what people think, but we can keep it moving.
All right, keep it moving. Well, we make our stake on justice and then keep hammering it until in 20, 30, 40 years.
And I don't think black people understand that that's your job.
Yes.
That's our job. We don't get a choice to lay back and kick up on the lazy boy. We don't have that life. That's what rich people do. That's what aristocratic people do. They just don't worry about politics. Well, I don't need to worry unless I bought the politicians. I don't worry about that sort of thing anymore. I let Jonathan handle that. Jonathan, that's not your life. You don't get to do that. You need black politics. You need black politics that matters and that you control. You can't just let that stuff go and just be watching entertainment and get involved in art and stuff and not get involved in politics no more. That's not your life.
And here's the deal. There's a lot of people who want you to do just that.
Yep.
Think about that. There's a whole lot of white capital, and I'm sorry, some of our black institutions, including the church, want you to do just that. And they're put there for a reason to keep you pacified. Black politics is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. It might be one of the more powerful, potent forces in these United States. And so there are just a slew of interests who want to keep you apolitical and stop you from making your claim and stop you from organizing. They want to stop you from organizing. So what we have to do and what we're trying to do here with our little space is a place for you to organize.
Well, I think somebody just put on a thing. I was told we are immigrants that came here on the bottom of the boat. I think I'm gonna do a quick hit on that tomorrow, and so we can talk about that. I know he's talking about being Carson Lord, talking about diluting our claim, putting us on the same page as immigrants. That's just another thing that we all the same. We all people of color. Don't you buy that people of color stuff? Don't you buy into that. If you don't buy into anything, don't you buy into that people of color nonsense. There's one thing that needs to die a terrible death with a dagger. It's that people of color madness. No. We don't do that around here. We can keep it moving, Irish. You got somebody else?
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, Yvette.
What's up?
What's up, man? Listen, I've been trying to get in for a long time, but I finally made it. So listen, my name is Eddie Bailey. I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York. I've been listening to your show for a long time, and let me say this before I go into what I want to say. I'm a Howard University alum, and I'm proud that you are.
Okay? Thank you.
And I'm really surprised a lot of Howard folk aren't sharing your stuff as much. I'm totally appalled by that. Yeah. But I want to say, since I've been listening to people like you and people like Antonio Moore, it's really put into perspective my place in America as a black man in a way that it hasn't before. Like the data that you bring really, brings a lot of sense to our predicament as Black people. And I just want to commend you for that. And I just want to tell you to keep going and keep going and keep talking that shit because we need to hear it. Okay.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
No, don't let him off. Ask him the question.
What do you? I mean, Army wanted me to ask you. He's concerned about student debt. Do you have any student debt from Howard?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And that's real. And it's funny because when you talk about student debt and you talk about you compare Black people to people like Bill Gates and all these advantaged people. It just makes so much sense, as to why we're in this position that we're in. And even some of our dreams, our aspirational dreams, are even are very naive in a way in terms of our place in this country, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess the last thing I want to say too is, I hear a lot of the other callers talking about, African Americans, descendants of slaves, and other Black folks that are from different countries. And I want to say that I grew up in the South. I'm from Memphis, grew up in ATL, and I moved to New York. And it wasn't until I moved to New York that I understood what an African American really was, because a lot of Black folks that aren't African American in New York, that are maybe from the Caribbean or from Africa, are quick to tell you that you're not Black like them.
Yeah.
And it made me see the world. It made me see the world in a different way, in terms of my being Black as an African American male in this country. That's about it. That's about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, caller. Thank you. And if you're from Howard University grad, you need to share my stuff. What's wrong with you? You scared?
I'll always share your stuff. One more thing, Yvette, before I get out of here. I just want to say that since we're talking about a new Black politics and stuff, and we've come to this kind of truth of where we are as Black people, I think the next step is kind of figuring out how we kind of navigate through this mess that our government has made for us. And that's not a question to you. It's just kind of like a statement I just want to throw out there and put on your brains and the people who are listening in on this call right now.
Yeah.
So let's continue to figure out how to navigate our way through this stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I agree. I think we do navigate, but I think we do need to, and that's kind of what this show is about, right? Yeah. Just like figuring out how to navigate our way through where we are. That's what it's about. But I think something he said was very interesting. He said, that's when I figured out I was African American, when I moved to New York and Africans told me I'm not you. Now they can tell him that you're not like me, but I can't tell you as African American, I'm not allowed to tell you that you are not like me. They can say that, but I can't say that. Right? What sense does that make? And I said this before and people got mad, but I say if you're an immigrant, that's fine. I ain't got no problem. We can be allies if you want to be allies and if you going to put some skin in the game. But as of right now, you need to, when you see me and I'm African American and you ain't from here and you just got here, or you need to look at me like I'm a white woman. Don't look at me like, oh, she Black. No. Look at me like I'm a rich white woman carrying a small dog. That's how you need to interact with me. And I'm not, it is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's okay.
So you don't like Caribbean people from, Nigeria or whatever coming here and 2 weeks later treating you like garbage?
Yeah, I mean, and I had, past tense, a very good Nigerian friend who I did a lot of stuff for. And so, who kind of talked the good talk.
Yvette.
Yeah, talked the good talk about solidarity and Sister. Just kind of wasn't about it. But the thing about it is, I've done it, I used to help immigrants because I bought into it. But then it comes down to this is a dog eat dog world, but I'm a native here. You don't come to me and treat me like I too come from a country that when you fly into it, there's poop on the floor. Like in the bathroom at the airport. That's what I'm saying. You have to treat me like you treat, look at me as just an American. Don't look at me like I need a descendant of slave card in terms of my benefits. But when other people come here, just look at me as an American. Don't look at me as like, well, you're not, you the third, that's not, you don't get to tell me. I know how I'm treated in America. I know how Black people are treated, but you don't get to say nothing about that. You don't get to say that. When you see me, white woman, small dog.
You say thank you, because without
thank you for everything your ancestors did in this country. We appreciate it. That's what you say. That's what you say. And you say, and then, people who come, the number of people who come here from different countries and don't read up on our history but act like experts. Like what black people should do. You have not read one book on black politics, one book on what we went through, and you come here, all of a sudden you're an expert. No other community will let people do that to them. Come here and pretend to be an expert and talk about my community to my face. You won't be able to do that. I want you to go up to a Jewish person and say, I think y'all should have, when they turn the gas chambers on, y'all should have just ran out the back way. Like, I want to see how they react to you. And that's how we should react to them.
What, did you guys fight back? Why didn't you fight back?
Yeah, why didn't you? I don't understand. Or say that to, you can say it to anybody. You can say it to any group. You can go to Native Americans and be like, I don't understand. You know, doing that Trail of Tears, y'all just sort of use y'all boots. Then y'all didn't have no boots, no moccasins. Like, I want you to see how they respond to you. It's only us to be like, yeah, you right. We real messed up. We could do better. No, shut them down. Shut them down. Just be like, you don't get out of my face right now. Like, you don't have a right to say. I'm not gonna go to wherever you from and start talking garbage. I don't go to Mexico. I would never go to Mexico. It's disrespectful for me to go to Mexico and start telling the Mexicans what they should have did. Well, you know about that whole Aztec thing. No, I'm not gonna say no. It's not my role. It's not my country. I'm not gonna go there and say no junk like that. I'm not gonna cast judgment. I'm not gonna be disrespectful to you and your country, and you don't get and you and your history, and you don't get to be disrespectful to me and mine.
Hey, by the way, I do want to say, look, and I'll tell the people because I don't know if you're gonna be down with this idea. I think that every caller, we ask them about their student debt. I want to hear numbers. We gotta be honest about it. Like, how much, welcome caller, how much you in debt? That's what I think we should do. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. It's part of our politics. And I think actually part of reparations should be just wiping that out. But,
yeah, I agree. I agree to be part. I mean, if y'all want to share it, I don't know some people like, people might recognize my voice.
Yes, we're in debt. We're people in debt.
Yes. White woman, small dogs, all I got to say. When you see me, just see me doing like this. What? Yes, don't even know. Don't well, whatever. Let's keep it moving.
Oh.
Hello? Something happened?
Well, they got on and then left.
Hopped off. Hopped off. Cold feet.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, this is Hunter Devins. I just wanted to apologize about last week. I know I said the D word too many times. I got on your nerves, but I was a little upset about Shirley. But what I wanted to say tonight is this conversation that we're having about reparations, like I say all the time, we need to keep it on this. And the reason why I believe the reason why the government isn't taking us serious on this conversation about reparations is because we are not unified behind the conversation. And the reason we are not unified is because we don't have a leader. And I believe, this is my personal belief, but Yvette, like I believe you hear everybody who calls in, they're saying, I love what you're doing, you're the only person who's doing it. I believe that you are that leader because you know the facts, you know the numbers, you and Antonio, you and Army, you guys know your stuff. And not only do you know your stuff, you know how to verbalize it. And that's what the community is missing right now. We're missing somebody who knows the numbers and knows how to debate it, knows how to verbalize it. We're looking for a leader. And one thing I know about black people, once we have that leader, that's when we get unified. We need somebody to say, we can do this. Obama would have been that, but he wasn't in the White House for the same reasons we put him in the White House. So that's what wrong with Obama. Obama was in the White House, and my personal belief, he was in the White House just to fill up his bank account and to prove something to himself that he could be president. Because I heard something that he said. He said something to the effect of, and I'll win another term, and I won 2 terms, or something like that. He was very proud that he won 2 terms, but in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, do you know why you won 2 terms? Because people were expecting something from you, Obama. He never had the conversation about reparations. At least I never heard the conversation about reparations.
No, he ain't
and
gonna
it's a
talk about
legit argument. It's a legit argument. We have a legit argument. The reason why white people despise the reparations argument is because they can't debate it. There's no debating it. The best thing they can say is, "Oh, well, you don't know if your family had, you don't know if you come from slaves." But we can gather that much, and now is the time.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the 1965 Immigration Act. Now is the time. Anytime after this, when these dreamers grow up and when descendants of slaves start dying off, there ain't gonna be no more conversation about this. So if we don't do this now, there's not gonna be time for it later.
I agree wholeheartedly. I agree.
So we have to be unified. My last question is, what can we do on the ground? I know we can share videos, I know we can donate, but what can we do on the ground in our states to spread the word about breaking down? Because we have to reach more people, and I don't think social media is the way to do it.
All right, so, all right, so let's
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's brainstorm a little bit. Well, I want you to, if you're in a black frat, if you're around black people, you need to be talking about breaking brown. I mean, I think just in general, if you're around black people, you need to be talking about breaking brown. If you don't have YouTube, we're on iTunes also, but like YouTube's where we make the money, what little money we make. So like steer people to YouTube. But like you need to be talking about breaking brown to your book club, to your church, to your institution.
And we're going to like, you know, I mentioned the forums where we can like get to know each other more as a community than just like me talking and a few callers get to call in. And also one thing I think we can eventually do, like I would like to kind of go on a tour and go to different states or whatever and talk to people in person. So it's not just, you know, well, watch this video. It's like, come to this thing. Or come to this thing we're having. You know what I mean? Like, come, like join us here at the church or join us here at this library. Like Yvette's going to be coming in and we're going to talk. So we can start.
Circuit.
Yeah, so we can have those one-on-one conversations. Like, so we can have those one-on-one conversations and work through like what are the problems that you're experiencing in your community, and then like we can work together and brainstorm on those problems. Like we can work together in the forum. Like I can say, okay, I went here and they were having this problem and we did that, and so now we're finna go into the forum and write about what we did and how that helped and see if they can help over here in this community and coordinate together in that kind of way. But I think we have to do that. You know, I know social media isn't necessarily the best way to do what we're trying to do. That's why I'm trying to collect, you know, I always send people to, you know, subscribe to Brown, you know, to subscribe to the newsletter. I have a new newsletter. So I'm trying to build emails and put people together so that we can kind of move in a different direction as a group. In terms of like being a leader, the only thing I'll say to that is I'll be whatever you need me to be. Like that's my answer to that. I'll be whatever you need me to be. I'm committed to this cause. You know, I'm committed to Africa. You know, my mama was a sharecropper. I'm committed to being here for as long as I need to be here and doing whatever I need to do. But I think the call is right. I think as we grow, we do have to kind of build out ways to reach people on social media, but also outside of social media in a way to direct them back to social media to have this conversation.
Right. So you know, right now I'm working. Right now, I think the Democrats are weak. Right? They're weak. They just got beaten. Their most centrist candidate, Hillary Clinton, just got beaten. Like legislative races have been beaten for 8 years. They're weak, and what there is of the left, like, isn't very attractive to black people. So I think there's an opening for like a black politics that can be coalition politics with the white left, with the white socialist left, with the white left. That's not the same as they are because they're a little bit too nice on some things, and we need to be a little bit other. But I think there's a space for a black left, and I think there's a space at the local level, if you can start taking over your local Democratic meetings, that would be great. But they need black voices and they need black faces in there, and they know that, and they feel a little bit embarrassed that they can't attract black people. But we need, as a black politics, to say, look, white left, if you're going to be about us, I need you to articulate black people's special claim. No universal claims. I need you to articulate black people's special claim to government redress as a matter of justice because of a special harm that's been done to our community that accounts for our generational poverty. So like that's the kind of black politics we need that can actually do business with the white left. Because I think the Democrats are susceptible right now, and the white left needs black people. They know that, and they're a little bit desperate, but we can't do it on their terms. We have to make them do it on our terms, and our terms is getting a black politics and reparations and our special claim in their platforms.
And what that means is putting money in black people's pockets.
Yes.
And I think one of the things we can do, like once we get people on the list, like on the list of subscribers and stuff like that, I think one of the things we can do is begin to support black people who are in favor of what we've been talking about. So let's say we grow And that's what I'm hoping for. And we have some people who we talk to on the phone or who are members of our community who say, I'm going to run for this. Well, then I can put out a call that says, hey, this person who's a member of our group is running for this city council, whatever the case may be. And let's support this person and hold this person accountable in this area. Right? So and you can it's easy to do this in local politics and national politics. But you can build it up to the point to where we're helping finance this person. You know, in terms of sending donations their way, and they're beholden to us as opposed to being beholden to a small time investor. You can do that if you get 100,000 subscribers or whatever, and get everybody. You can start doing little stuff like this, small wins in communities where they can say, I don't have to answer to you. Like, you know, I get my money from black people. I don't have to be bothered with what you're talking about. And you can start really doing that on a local level, and then just continue to grow. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. And I think he's right. Once these dreamers grow up, these people are replacing us. They're systematically replacing us. Right. Once they grow up, nobody even need black people. Once they grow up, it's over. We got to do this now. And there's a bill in Congress to at least study reparations, and it can't get through. And Obama didn't do anything to try to make sure it get through. Read that piece. It was an awful piece, but if you can get through it, that piece by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and see exactly what he says about reparations, it's abominable.
Right, the bill right now is a Conyers bill, John Conyers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a bill right now, and that's just to study what reparation would look like. Would it look like forgiving student debt? Would it look like just endowing, giving $1 billion to 20 HBCUs for their endowment? Like each HBCU would get $1 billion. Like reparations could look like all sorts of things, including like guaranteeing clean water. But
they don't want to study it because they don't want to give it.
Right.
That's just the basis of that.
Let's keep it moving.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, this is James here in New Jersey. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Yvette. Hey, I wanted to quickly call and hopefully the line won't get interrupted, but just make some points. I enjoyed the last caller. I guess in my mind, the natural evolution of kind of your efforts and initiatives would be some type of regional groups, that could work on an actual, on some face-to-face agendas, but, some type of a physical engagement and presence where people who are in agreement on this issue are actually getting together and making the connections and being involved in some actual activities.
Okay. I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have 2 quick points to make. One is to kind of follow up. I made a posting last week on one of your videos. It was with you and Antonio, and it goes to the issue of how, I agree fully with the need to pursue actions for reparations and so forth. I mean, that claim has to be pursued, otherwise it'll just, it'll be as if it never existed. But at the same time, I think we need to take some internal efforts and initiatives, and this isn't, again, to exculpate or excuse any actions that our government needs to do. But specifically on this issue, which you guys do such a great job discussing and elaborating so well on racial wealth inequality. I agree so much, as you pointed out, having education and hard work and so forth, those things won't fix it. So the question is, what is the solution? In my mind, it really boils down to the need for Black people to have wealth-producing assets. So, and I think this is, aside from our government redress, this is the issue that we need to start working on, because it's, having incomes isn't sufficient to do anything. We need wealth-producing assets, speaking specifically of things like businesses, which I believe we lagged so much with because of the capital access issue. The SBA has done nothing, has provided no access to capital to Blacks. It's such the process is very opaque. And then also there was no financing of Black businesses from banks. So there's been this huge dearth of credit, which is at the heart of the issue. So I think part of resolving that would be to look at what are some internal initiatives we can collectively do that would help to finance and capitalize small businesses within the black community. And so in my mind, an easy way to do that would be to have basically a large number of black people, making small contributions to finance a variety of small black businesses that you can expand throughout the community nationally. If you had 1 million black people contributing $5 a month, 60, that's $5 million a month, 60 million a year, which is more than sufficient to adequately capitalize hundreds of small businesses that can go on to be profitable and can grow over time. And to me, it's simple and it could work. It's practical. And to me, that's really where I see you guys, and working with Antonio and Dr. Boyce and 10 or 15 other people in leadership to really galvanize some type of a movement like that, where black people can organize and contribute to creating businesses throughout their community, or our community.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate it. I think the first person who ever said that, I can't say the first person who ever said, the first black person who I ever heard say everybody give $1 or $5 or whatever was Malcolm X. And I think there's a reason why it hasn't happened. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think black people don't have a lot of money, and black people are falling fast. And I don't know if they would be willing. Listen, we have a hard time getting, donations here. And I appreciate everybody that's donated to me. And I don't feel like you owe me anything. I'm not an entitled person. I understand what your life is like. So I'm saying you would have an even harder time to do that. And if you did try to do it, what you would have to do was set it up as like a co-op. You couldn't set it up as a regular business where the business person, because you would have to somehow be invested and be able to be I'm going to financially benefit from this. As opposed to this is going to be a business for somebody else and I'm just supporting it because it's black. Because the truth of the matter is, if a black man owns a McDonald's and a white man owns a McDonald's, that's not a benefit for black people, because the workers still get paid the same pay. And unless you tell me that black McDonald's owner is taking his salary and donating it, most of it, to black people, it's not necessarily beneficial. So I'm not saying that can't work. I'm just saying that part of the reason that it hasn't worked is because of economics and because of the lack of resources and the lack of money that we do have to get people to rally around. And stability.
Because we're supposed to also buy life insurance, and we're supposed to also And
this is what people who people don't want to talk about it, but this is what a group of people who a lot of y'all, I know a lot of y'all are wondering if your lights are gonna get cut off tomorrow. You don't gotta say your name. You know what I mean? You wonder if you can pay the light bill. These are things that happened to me. I'm not saying it to be mean about you. It's happened to me. I hope you don't come today. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna have it till tomorrow. Will you take half the money? You know what I mean? Because I don't have a whole light bill. Will you take half the light bill? I don't have a whole gas bill. Will you take half and then I give you a post-dated check? I mean, this is the kind of stuff we go through. So to give to something that's not necessarily a sure thing. I mean, we can't get money from people we know. You think about that. We don't. How many black people who are in business do you know that got money from people in their families that they know and say, hey, can you give me $100? Can you give me $200? And what you get a lot of times, people say, I'm gonna pray for you.
I mean, Dr. Umar's been trying to get this school off for I don't know how long.
And he's got more money than anybody. I thought Umar got more money than I've ever seen anybody get from black people, which is $300,000, $400,000. I ain't never seen that before. Yeah. I have never seen that before. So, I think if he could do that, then there is something to what the caller said.
No, but there isn't enough money. There's no school.
But that's not enough money. But then that's still not enough business. Even if you give somebody $1 million, that creates how many businesses in the black community? 2, maybe? Yeah. $500,000 a piece? That's still only 2, and we're talking about 14 million homes. It's just not necessarily enough. I think, and I'm not downing it, if you can find somebody to do that, but I don't know if there's enough money in the black community. I think that's something that individuals might be able to do on some level, but it's not enough for community uplift, and that's what I'm into. I'm trying to understand why the SBA didn't give black people 1% of the loans under the Obama administration. He was the first black president. I'm trying to understand why that didn't happen. So I think what the caller said is kind of complicated, and it's complicated for a lot of reasons. So that's all I'll say about that.
All right. Let's keep it moving. Full house.
Hello?
Yes.
Yvette,
Yes.
how you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
All right. I've been listening to you for a while now, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think I'm the guy you want to talk to.
Okay. That's a good line.
I'm conservative,
Me too.
black. I was cleaning a deer.
Do you have
I hit
money?
a deer on the road one day, and while I was listening, well, in other words, I was cleaning a deer while I was listening to your show.
We're cleaning a deer.
Hey, he hunts. He's conservative, you know.
Yeah, a deer.
Okay.
I hit it. Yeah, so I'm the guy who you described me one day as saying if you like guns and you're a conservative, and that's what I am. I was born in California, Oakland, California. I moved to Texas when I was 15. Knew my grandfather, met him well. He's from here. We own 75 acres.
Oh.
I own my home on 5 acres. I have stocks. It's a name brand. Facebook, Under Armour, Ford, oil stock, a little bit.
Get to it.
But
man.
my thing is this is what I hate when I have a conversation with anybody else. You're a sellout, Tom, all that kind of stuff. Because the Democrat Party is not a belief that I've been in tune with for ever how many years. Again, Jesus, girl, you just don't know. I love you. You just don't know. But anyway, I'm trying to make my point of being precise in a time that I get everything that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm on this side, don't call me those names.
Yeah.
Because I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not hating anybody over there. I'm just telling you, this is me and what I've done for my own self. Like I said, I have a 4-bedroom home.
Ask him.
Did you let me ask you one quick question. Let me ask you one quick question, caller. Did you inherit those acres of land?
You damn right I did.
Okay, so you inherited 75 acres of land.
That's a wealth transfer.
But, we have more than that, but, they burned down the courthouse and you couldn't prove that you had these different properties.
Get serious now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry.
You and Aaron, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you that question because I was wondering about wealth transfers and whether that was something you inherited. But go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, let's grill him a little bit. He said he made it himself. Stop him there.
Uh-huh.
And all together with me and my cousins, we have probably over, I think it's 200 acres between, me and all my cousins and whatnot. But we had more than that at one time. But like I said, they burned down the courthouse, and he couldn't prove, what he had owned, and they play those games. But more importantly is that, like I said there and said before, I want to vote for something, right? So this is what I hate. Me and my cousin had this argument all the time. He still lives in California. I don't, obviously, but I will sit there and say, well, you won't vote for gay marriage. I said, yeah, but you won't vote for me to have 3 or 4 wives. You won't vote for this. On weed. I said, yeah, but you won't vote for me to make moonshine in my backyard. You see, that's the problem that we have in terms of a more progressive tone, because what you won't vote for me to have. And that's where we always miss each other at. I've been here for a long time. None of my cousins pay the taxes, none of them. But I pay the taxes. None of them want to participate in the activities, but they want to profit from the activities that I produce on
like the little red hen.
Acreage. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that's what we have the biggest beef at. That's our biggest problem of anything. And like I said before, I'm the guy that you should really be talking to, because like I said, I want to be an NRA member. I want a silencer on my gun. But again, y'all won't vote for me to have a silencer on my gun, even though it's just go out there and shoot on my trap line. A trap line is, where you catch animals and you shoot them in silence or whatever.
Oh.
That's my thing. When it starts in November, you have to wait for the cold to get here. But in November through February, y'all have no idea. That's my time. I go out there and trap my coon, possums, shoot coyotes.
What you do with possums?
I don't like possums. They don't have any hair on their head, so it's like a little human head.
It's still just a meat.
You wait a minute. You eat the possum?
Yes, ma'am.
I ain't had nobody say they eat a possum except for my great aunts and stuff. But the old people in my family said they ate possums. I didn't know you still trapping them. Well, I'm sorry, this is an education, but I didn't know no young people were still doing it. I have people in my family that did it, but they were older. But go ahead.
No, let's get it.
No, squirrel.
Somebody said, bruh.
Hog, deer.
Ooh.
I just like I said, I was cleaning the deer. I hit a deer in my truck, and got him, picked him up, took him to the house, cleaned him.
Lots of ways to go hunting.
That's survival.
I love this stuff. And I love what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Let me say one thing. You want to say what, caller? We gonna wrap this up, but you want to say what?
He's gone.
Dang, Ironman. Hey, what? Bernard Timberlake. Ironman just.
I couldn't do it.
Ironman just cut him off. I was gonna ask him if he don't now. See how he do? You see how he do? Now the other person who was talking all along, he liked her, but he cut my coon hunting friend off. I want to talk to this man about hunting coon.
No, because
all this stuff.
Now I want to talk about him because he said I built this myself, and then 15 seconds later you ask him, "Did you inherit this land?" He said, "Well, yeah, I inherited all this land from my granddad." This is the delusion that we're dealing with in America. Nobody builds it themselves in America. That's okay. That's just not how this country is organized.
Yeah, but I don't know what he did with that deer because you cut him off. I don't know what happened to the deer, how he cleaned the deer. I need to know this. He's a survivalist. I need to know what survivalist
that was roadkill. He didn't shoot the deer.
He brought it home. Would you bring a bloody deer home?
I can drive.
That's some manly stuff to do.
I don't hit deers. I go around them.
You ain't never seen a deer. You ain't never seen a deer just jump out in front of you. You ain't never seen these deers run. They can't jump out in front of you. But then you able to do that? Come through your windshield. You ain't never seen one.
Well, I got a Prius, so I'm just joking.
Caller, we apologize for Iron cutting you off when you was talking about your deer. But I think one of the things that the caller was really getting to was the point of the matter is that there's no box for some people, right? There's no box for you to check. You want to do moonshine, and then you don't have a problem with your cousin's weed, but it's just there's no political box. It's kind of like they put us in D's and R's and there's nowhere else to go. And the problem is there should be other places to go because you don't really, I don't fit into the Democratic box. I call myself an independent now. You don't fit neatly, I don't think, into the Republican box. So I think the problem is in terms of political choice, that sort of thing. Apparently, winter is a prime time for hunting
in Texas.
And possums.
Yeah.
I ain't see nothing wrong with it. You be judging. You from California. You be judging people that hunt for food. I want to know how they hunt. How'd you kill it? What'd you do?
With a silencer?
How you know?
Okay.
You hunt. You don't know what that man do?
I don't know. Yeah, I come from land where people drive Hondas, not trucks. All right. One more?
Yeah, this our last one.
Last one. All right, you're the last caller. 713. Is that Chicago?
Hi, Yvette.
Hello, how are you?
This is Robin.
Hey, Robin.
I'm fine. This is Robin from Texas. I've called in before, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand the last caller, but that's okay. Maybe he's looking for a wife. You know how to do deer. It's cool, But this is what I need you to do. The gentleman with you, I can't remember his name. I want him to go to YouTube and pull up Nesara. Nesara. Okay? What is Nesara? And I want you to read it to your listeners.
Nes.
It has a bunch of information on it. Okay? Pull down the drop-down menu, and there's a whole thing to read. Okay? And I want you to read it because this is what we're dealing with. And this is why things are crazy.
NESARA?
I'm over there breathing hard.
NESARA.
Yeah.
And it'll say, what is NESARA? And it was done on October the 29th, 2016.
Oh, okay, good. It's, okay. It's long. All right, we can talk about
No.
this.
Even if you read the first paragraph, please. That's what we're looking for. That is what's wrong. That is where our money is. Black money. Everybody's money.
What's going on, Aaron? What is it?
Okay, so, all right, so the national, hold on. All right, so the National Economic Security and Reformation Act was passed, looks like about 6 months ago or longer than that ago. And it looks like the congressmen are on gag order not to talk about it. I'll do some research.
Read it, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Read it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know your show is running late, but that is your key. That will give you all the answers to make sense out of that Congress up there, that illegal Congress up there, okay? That ties into everything and the suffering that we have been going through for decades.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. I want to get to the solution. Now, I was reading something earlier today. One of the solutions, there are a multitude, but I can't just solve everything. People like, you solve racism? No. I'm just telling you where it could kind of start. That was a great, well, it was a good article. It was from The Nation. So if you're reading The Nation, it was called, Is Our President Bonkers? That's the title of it. Is Our President Bonkers? And at the end of the article, it says Democrats running for office from the U.S. House and Senate to state legislatures and governorships to take the following pledge. This is the pledge that's calling for Democrats to take. They must promise that they will not vote for any tax measure that favors the billionaires and big corporations, thereby increasing the income inequality that is already a national scandal. If the Democratic candidate refuses to sign the pledge, put them on a hit list to be primary. Okay? I would go further. I would say if you're not willing, forget you're not going to increase income inequality. I would say if you're not going to redistribute wealth from the top to the bottom, if you're not going to promise to do that, then we're going to primary you. That's just what's going to happen. If you're not going to agree that you're going to redistribute wealth from the top to the bottom, because that's what has to happen. These people who ate all the dreams, they have to start giving dreams back because they got too many. It's like going through a lunch line and they put like four things on your stuff on your lunch tray, and like now the person behind we ran out of food. Well, you got to give some of your food because they gave you 4 lunches. They gave you 4 cheeseburgers and 4 fries and 4 sodas, and now the other 3 kids behind you ain't got nothing to eat. So you got to give your stuff up. Any kind of Democratic policy that doesn't require that these people give more of their stuff up, any kind of Democrat who doesn't agree that they should give more and be taxed more, and they won't pass any bill that will make it worse, will make it easier to calcify wealth at the very top. Any Democrat who doesn't agree with that and agree that that's something that should happen, I would primary him. We got to stop being like, well, we got a Democrat in office. We got to break with these people.
Yes.
Because they got to feel the burn. They got to feel like, these people are leaving me. And I'm not going to have no job. I'm not going to have nothing. They got to know that and they got to feel that. We got to be willing to do what the Tea Party did and primary our own and get them out of there.
Yes.
Because they're not our own anyway. Just got a D behind their name. But they're really Republicans. Get the Republicans who are wearing Democratic disguises out. That's one of the things that we have to start doing. We have to start doing that. And it worked for the Tea Party. That's what led up to Trump. We got to do that ourselves.
Right.
But we can't do it if we're scared. And
Right.
so, again, everybody, I want everybody to subscribe to Brown. You can go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe to the newsletter. Again, I'm going to get the first newsletter out this weekend, and you can take care of that. And we're going to have the forum up soon. We got a lot of stuff that we're trying to do to build education. You go to breakingbrown.com also and go to the homepage and subscribe for a monthly payment. You can go to Donate Brown and donate for one thing. So we're trying to just kind of create a movement here and get this thing rolling so that we don't get overtaken and replaced and extinct and go the way of the dodo bird. So thanks, everybody.